are using their industrial muscle to help the low-paid health workers. Member of the NGA and father of the Daily Mail chapel in London, Mike Parr.
Good evening. What can Buckingham Palace and Congress House, Prince Andrew and King Arthur Scargill agree on? Answer, that the popular press in Britain has sunk from the gutter to the sewer. I agree too. I print it. And I'm one of those print workers denounced by the Press Council recently.
It was wholly improper and unjustified for print unions to put pressure on newspapers to publish statements favouring the health workers.
But why shouldn't we support a just cause?
Newspaper industry workers and unions are not in a special privileged position.
Unlike the press lords whose hired hacks invade the privacy, distort the views and incite hatred against working people who dare to defy them, we print workers don't want to censor our bosses. But if they demand the freedom to lie and incite, then we want the right to reply, not just for unions, but for every citizen subjected to abuse. The fight back began in earnest at the TUC 2 years ago. NGA President Les Dixon.
Print unions are now quite rightly prepared to rectify the distortion that exists in the media.
And that's what we're trying to make the papers do. In July, at the height of the health dispute, this was the Daily Express front page.
I have a dying man. There's no way I'll let him die. Scab, the pickets yelled back.
A militant warns an ambulance driver not to take a dying man across a picket line. Outraged readers included the NUPE members involved. The picture was, they said, a fake. They came to the print unions, who went with them to meet the editor of the Express. 2 days later, NUPE got their right to reply.
The front page had two photos, one of an ambulance and another of a picket showing his fury. The man in the photo was not on picket duty. The photo was not taken at the time the ambulance was going into the hospital.
Amazing, isn't it? Yet the Express still wanted the last absurd word.
The Daily Express stands by its report.
From the start of the health dispute, the National Graphical Association in London tried to get a fair showing for the workers' case through this statement. The Daily Star, Express and Sun ran it as a free ad. The Daily Mail reproduced it as the lead letter.
We're backing our nurses.
A small victory. A month later, all the print unions asked again for the right to express their views. Again we got it.
Give them the money. Why we must support the health service workers.
Just an ad, but enough to upset the Fleet Street establishment. Trade rag UK Press Gazette.
Saturday night censorship.
Wrong. No views banned, just more opinions expressed. Opinions much more moderate than those in the Daily Mail, attacking the day of action in support of the health workers, which closed Fleet Street for a day. And while at it, they had a go at their own employees.
What is intolerable is that they,
that's us print workers,
should pose as knight-errants seeking to rescue damsels in distress.
Hacks speak for nurses.
When what most of them are doing is sabotaging industry and undermining the authority of law.
The Daily Mail, that once supported Mosley's fascist black shirts,
in an attempt to defend their own feudal and unpopular privileges.
Unlike Lord Rothermere. OK, their right to abuse. What about our right to reply? Or even this mild disclaimer, which we asked the Mail's management to insert alongside that vicious editorial.
Members of the NGA and SOGAT 82 employed at the Daily Mail wish to dissociate themselves from the above article.
Not a lot to ask, but enough to make the Mail management scrap the editorial rather than be publicly disowned. Result, a typographic breakthrough. Some say that's the most balanced editorial they've ever produced. But 2 days later, the Mail lectured us again, this time on how best to get redress.
If they think they have been libelled, they can go to the courts.
Only if we were as rich as Rothermere, our patriotic proprietor, tax-exiled in Paris. Any other bright ideas?
They can write to the editor.
And he can spike it.
They can go to the Press Council.
And wait months for a decision which counts for nothing. Any other thoughts?
They can try to find a platform for attacking the Mail viewpoint in another journal, or on radio, or TV.
Well, thank you for that advice, and thank you, Union World, for at last allowing a right to reply to the censors of Fleet Street. Good night.